With every passing day that approaches WrestleMania, man, it seems like there is some sort of leak, and this happens every single year. The closer you get to WrestleMania, the closer you get to the figure reveals, it seems like more and more things come out, and it's just a matter of time before we do that. And I plan on making a video where we're going to discuss all the things we will see at WrestleMania or WWE World. But just yesterday, man, we had an insane listing on eBay here of this Hall of Champions 4-pack that we're going to take a look at, and it's pretty mind-blowing. There's a lot to discuss with it. We'll break down the lore. We'll get into the whole thing, man. But this apparently was listed on eBay, and I think they were charging $125, something like that. This is a very interesting set. You know, you look at this, I think, you know, the Hall of Champions packaging is incredible, but you take a look here, and you may see 4 characters that you don't typically see together, right? It's kind of a mishmash or a crazy pairing of characters that we're getting here. But let's take a look at the box set here. You got the front and back. These are the only 2 images, but we will zoom in on the talent. I'll showcase all the figures. But I guess from left to right, let's just get into this and break it down. So you have this Hall of Champions pack that was listed on eBay. This is a leak. If you guys weren't aware, this was actually, we'll cover that after. Let's get into the figures here, man. We have Pat Patterson in this pack. Now, this is going to be our second ever Elite Pat Patterson. If you remember clearly, they used to do the collector's editions figures where they would have a collector's edition figure that would be exclusive to a specific store, and I think this was through the Elite 60 series, like through the 60s. It may have been in the 70s, some as well. I can't remember off the top of the dome. I want to say it ran through there. I can't remember again what that is, but Pat Patterson was a part of that collection series as one of those kind of chase collector's edition figures, and so he returns to the line here, and it looks like we're getting a first ever championship with the first ever Intercontinental Championship. I think that's what that is right there, which is pretty cool, you know. If you go back to last year with the Hall of Champions pack, we did get Bruno Sammartino, who came with the first ever championship there as well, which is really sweet, man. I love these throwback titles. There's something kind of charming about getting these style figures, about having these throwback figures, so I think this is kind of cool, you know, say what you will. You know, do people want a Pat Patterson? I don't know, but for those belt collectors, for those people that really like the throwback figures and having those flashbacks, I, for one, like to collect characters like that you don't see every day. They're kind of boring, I understand, but I still think that they hold a spot and they kind of, you know, matter in a wrestling figure collection. I like this. I like the championship, and, you know, it's a different take, and it's a brand new head sculpt, which is kind of crazy for Pat Patterson, but we do get that first Intercontinental Championship, and then we move on to Honky Tonk Man, which, you know, if you guys didn't know, one of the longest reigning Intercontinental Champions of all time, and this comes off the heels of his Coliseum Collection Ultimate, and it seems like, you know, we're getting a new Honky Tonk here. I can't tell off the top if this is a brand new head sculpt that may have came on the Coliseum Collection Ultimate Edition. I never got that set. I still, to this day, don't have that Ultimate Warrior or that Honky Tonk. Need to track those down. But he's going to come with his guitar, and he's going to come with the black strap Intercontinental Championship here. I call it kind of the rectangle version. But if you zoom in here, you will notice it's going to have the red logo, which is something that people have been clamoring for. I know that it has come on some Superstars figures. People take those Superstars figures. I think it was Shawn Michaels, maybe another figure in the line that came with that Intercontinental Championship. I think it was Ultimate Warrior. People were using those Superstars Intercontinental Championships to put with their regular elites and things like that to kind of upgrade their collections. Well, now we're finally getting, I can't believe it took this long really to get the red block or the red WWE logo on the, you know, the rectangle or the block IC title right here. But we're finally getting it, and it comes on this Honky Tonk. I want to say we've seen this Honky Tonk Man attire before, maybe in a basic or something like that. Just kind of your basic red and white. But we are getting Honky Tonk Man here, which is the second figure in the set. The third figure in this box set is going to be CM Punk. Now, if you zoom in here, this figure looks pretty damn good, man. I'm liking this, and I think that Pat Patterson's a good representation. I think that Honky Tonk Man's a good representation, but this CM Punk figure looks really, really good. I like the head sculpt. I like it looks like it has the sculpted wrist tape. It has no chest hair, and I did have to do some lore searching here because I could not remember. Of course, he wore white gears around 2008, 2009, but I was thinking to myself that it was a different gear than it actually is, but come to find out, this is his white and black attire from 2008 Armageddon, where he took on Rey Mysterio in the finals of the Intercontinental Championship tournament bracket. And so that is pretty cool. I think it's kind of a deep cut. It's kind of a random pick, but getting that Intercontinental Championship in there is pretty nice. That's my favorite strap of the IC title ever, is the oval, and this white and black gear looks really sweet. I'll also put up pictures of Punk so you can kind of see what you're getting. This looks really damn good, man. I'm excited for this Punk. I know we've gotten a slew of Punks. We're going to continue to get a slew of Punks, but Mattel making up for lost time with, different eras of Punk too throughout his career. I think this is a solid pick here. It would have been cool maybe if they re-released the Elite 1 Punk and gave us the Intercontinental Championship, in the gray, which would have been kind of cool, but I like the white and black. I think that's a cool pick. And I dig this figure. I think it looks pretty sweet. But CM Punk's the third figure in this Hall of Champions Intercontinental Championship box set, which I don't know if you guys saw. It says Hall of Champions Intercontinental Championship on the box itself. So it's kind of a celebration of the Intercontinental Championship if you guys haven't figured that out yet. But the last figure in the set, they did go with a modern talent here. Now, this figure is interesting because we have a dirty Dominic Mysterio. And I have a lot to say about this specific look, because on this Dominic Mysterio, at first glance, you're going to notice it's similar to Punk. He's got white and black gear, and I do believe this is his WrestleMania 41 gear where he won the Intercontinental Championship last year in Las Vegas, and he comes with the modern Intercontinental Championship like we got with the Defining Moments ringside exclusive Jey Uso, but it does have dirty Dominic Mysterio side plates, so that's also a huge deal with this figure specifically. But also, if you zoom in here, I'm going to give you a photo. This is what kind of makes it wish-washy. On this vest, you can tell that this is an entrance vest. It looks like it's cloth goods, so we're getting a cloth goods vest for this Dominic. It's featuring the tongue-out ultimate head sculpt, which I think is great. The Elite Dirty Doms are pretty good, especially the modern ones. The Elite 119 was a really great figure. I really enjoyed that one. I imagine this is just a repaint of that existing figure. He'll probably have the clown feet. But if you zoom in on the bottom of this figure, I don't think this is his WrestleMania 41 gear all the way. It is the tights, it is the shirt or the vest, not the entrance vest, which I'll also cover. But the boots don't have the skeleton deco that he had, or at least at this photo. I mean, I could be completely wrong. Maybe it's just a bad photo. Maybe it's different boots. But if he's not wearing the skeleton boots, then it's not WrestleMania 41 specifically, So I don't know. And also the vest. This entrance vest is not what he wore at WrestleMania when he won the Intercontinental Championship. He actually wore like a long entrance duster. I think it had cow fur on it or something. It was a very crazy vest that was really long. It was way different than this. And, it's got words on it and everything. So, I don't know. I don't know if this is kind of a mix and match, where they take certain elements of certain gears and pair them together to create this look for Dirty Dom. But it still looks really good, regardless if it's completely accurate to WrestleMania, or maybe they took the vest from this other show and then, the boots from this other show and put it together. It is kind of crap. Like, I don't like that it's not the skeleton boots, because I think the skeleton boots with the details and, that kind of skeleton pattern on there would be really sweet for Dirty Dom, especially on this figure specifically. When you're talking about white and black gears, I mean, that's right up my alley, man. I love white attires, so that would have been really nice to cement here in figure form. But maybe we'll get that at a later date, or maybe the skeleton deco is on the boots and I just can't see it from this angle. We don't have a ton of photos just yet, but this is a set that will absolutely be on display at WrestleMania or at WWE World when we get out there in Vegas. And so this is, it kind of points back to last year, because if you guys remember, they did reveal the Hall of Champions WWE Championship Series last year in Vegas at WWE World. If you guys remember this set, this is the Bruno Sammartino. Came with Ultimate Warrior, came with John Cena, and came with Roman Reigns, all the different iterations of the championship through the years, which is really cool. But I think that this set overall is pretty cool. It doesn't quite have the heavy hitters that last year had, Ultimate Warrior, John Cena, Roman Reigns, another Bruno, first time in the line championships. There was a lot to love about that first version, but I think it's kind of a cool set. I think, people were loving this yesterday on social media. People were really talking about it and everything. I think you get some cool picks in here. And I think that it's a solid set overall. But again, it's a crazy box set. Like, the first time I saw it, I was like, this is insane. What a crazy pack. And, we've seen crazy packs in the past of, maybe just the most random sets ever. Kind of like the Awesome Truth 3-pack. Kind of seemed kind of random. You wouldn't expect to get a suited Triple H with the World Tag Titles and a updated R-Truth and a crazy Miz where he looks like a thumb. I don't know. Sometimes they just give us some crazy picks. And this is just one of those times where it's a unique box set. But I for one, love the box sets. I think they're really unique and really nice. But when you compare it to last year, does it have quite the heavy hitters? No. But I think people will be excited to get these updated championships. You get some variations of some certain characters. You don't have to buy it right off rip. You can play the long game on it. Maybe it'll hit clearance, whatever. But I mean, I imagine this will be on display at WWE World. We will see, what it all unfolds. There'll probably be a loose and a mint on card shot. That's what they did last year. They had the full display of it in the packaging, and then they had each figure loose with the championship. This will 1,000% be on display, and we'll get to see it in its entirety, and we'll break it all down, of course, when we get there. But I like this set. I think it's solid. It's just kind of crazy. It's one of those random packs, but I like it, man. I think it's pretty cool. And you can kind of, if you turn the box around, you can kind of take those, those gold plates. I still have my packaging from last year because I think if you cut these out and put them on some sort of diorama, it would make for a pretty cool little, I don't know, Hall of Fame wing or some sort of display that you could create. But let me know what you think of this Hall of Champions box set. I think it's a very unique thing there, so I'd love to know what you guys are feeling on the Hall of Champions box set. But, the closer we get to WrestleMania, man, I'm telling you, there's going to be some more things coming out. I think we're 10 days from today. Happy Easter, by the way. He is risen. I think that, 10 days from now, we will be going to Vegas. And so it's just inevitable that there's going to be more and more things that kind of maybe squeak out there. And, more and more things will be confirmed. But I'm excited, man. It's going to be a blast. I can't wait to see you guys out there and chat it up. But I would love to know what you think on this box set down below. But before we get out of here, let's get into our random comment shout-out. And our random comment shout-out today is going to go to SDW_wrestling. He says, I was hoping that the Elite 127 John Cena would be based on WrestleMania 39, and I'm sorry, brother, they ain't ever making that damn WrestleMania 39 gear. I think there's too many loops to jump through with G.I. Joe and Hasbro and all that different stuff, so if we ever get that, it's going to be custom. And, you might as well just make that into a custom. I just don't think they'll ever give us that. It'd be incredible. That's like one of my favorite gears he's probably ever worn. I don't think we'll ever see that, but I appreciate you guys for watching. Let me know what you think on this Hall of Champions box set. I will see you guys in the next video. Have a blessed one, and I will catch you guys later. Have a happy Easter.